Hello Twitch, I'm back and ready to go with another live stream. So thank you very much for joining me today. I am not muted, so you can hear me now. And anything you can hear is probably something on your end. Alright, so this is episode 27. Wow, that's a lot of episodes. So if I do around 2 a week, that means I've been doing this for, what is that, about 13, 14 weeks, give or take? All right. Okay, so this episode, I'm going to my primary goal is we're going to work on the Scavenger Hunt app. So I've got an event coming up soon called All Things Open, and I say soon; it's a few months from now. But I think right now we're planning to use the Scavenger Hunt at that event again. We may call it something different, but we use it at KCDC. We got some feedback on it, and one of the things that I think stood out to us the most was that people were not engaging because they had to, well, some people anyway, not everyone. A lot of people did engage, it was great, but some people didn't want to create an account. It's a lot of time, a few extra steps to do that. So what we decided to do was, if we can, we're going to add some social login. We're going to start with LinkedIn. We think that's a good place to start. I'm already using Okta for this project, so we're going to see if we can add LinkedIn with Okta. If we get that far, we'll see what else we can do as far as social logins go. But LinkedIn seems like a place we could all agree on that would be good to start with. Okay, and just before we kick off the rest of the stream, the motto of the stream, as always, is the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So if you are worried about asking a question, you're afraid to look stupid, you're afraid to look silly, I won't tolerate that in this channel. If you have a question, ask away. If anyone says it's a silly question or a stupid question, that's against the rules. I'm not down with that. This is a safe place to ask your questions. So ask away. No matter how complicated or simple you think it is, ask away. I may not know the answer, because I'm stupid. But please feel free to ask the question, and I'll do my best to answer or find someone who can answer. All right, let's do my normal plugs here. We'll start with Team Live Coders. I am part of a Twitch team called Team Live Coders. I'm the only one on the team streaming right now. That's cool. But we're a team of 66 people, and we are doing all different kinds of live coding. Lots of different languages, lots of different time zones. Hey, Gamlor, thanks for stopping in again. Great to see you. Thanks for coming by. It was great hanging out with you last time. I'm glad you're back for more. So yeah, if you're interested in live coding, maybe you're watching this on YouTube, or maybe the type of stuff that I'm covering. We're doing some real inception here. The type of stuff I'm covering is not interesting to you. I do a lot of back-end database type stuff, web development. So other people are streaming all kinds of other different stuff. So there's bound to be someone on this team who's doing something interesting to you. So check it out, Twitch/team/live coders. So I'll close it out before I destroy the world with the inception there. And what else? Awesome developers streaming list. This is a big text file, basically, on GitHub. Has been updated in 26 days, which isn't a bad thing, because it's already a huge list of developers who are streaming, again, all kinds of different topics, different time zones, all kinds of different people from different backgrounds. So you can go to this link here, github/bnb/awesome developer streams. Do a control F and do a quick search for something like data, for instance. We'll go up here, and you can just see all these streamers who may have data as a keyword. So there's myself, Matt Groves. I do a lot of databases. Couchbase, of course, NoSQL, SQL++, SQL, and then backend stuff like C#, ASP.NET, which we'll be doing today. And I do other stuff sometimes. I do some gaming here and there. I haven't done it in a while, but soldering, VR, and some podcasting type stuff. But mostly I stick to coding, databases, backend, web development. The stuff that I've done my whole career, basically. And you can see other people who are doing stuff with data. So Rachel Tapman is doing data science with R. We see Shirley Wu is doing data visualization and JavaScript and React. We did some of that recently, actually. Really dabbled in that. Ted Young is doing Spring data. So some Java stuff going on there. Go Maestro Go. Actually, he did a stream recently, and I wasn't able to tune in. I saw the notification and I was like driving or I was in a car or something, or was at a baseball game, I forget, but I couldn't tune in to see what he was up to. But he does some relational database design there. Okay, Jack Mott doing some data structures. There's me again. So you can kind of see where this is going. You can just do a Control F and find other people. So GitHub/BNB/awesome developer streams. Check it out. All right, what else? Yes, GrovesTube. So bit.ly/GrovesTube. You see the link is right over there, at the bottom of your screen as well. All my videos get saved to Twitch for a certain period of time, but they also get saved out to YouTube if I remember to. I post them all to YouTube, all the highlight clips as well. This is everything I do, not just the developer stuff, but gaming and soldering, all that crazy stuff's out there. bit.ly/GrovesTube. Check it out. Catch up on some old episodes. Maybe you can go back and check out the old Scavenger Hunt episode if you're interested in that. What else? Okay, Codepalooza is this week. Codepalooza. Oops, I can't type. Codepalooza. This is a software conference in Louisville, Kentucky, and I will be there. I will be attending, checking out some really great sessions, and I will also be speaking. I'll be speaking on 2 different topics, and I'll just go show you those briefly. But the lemon question marks. The reason the reason I bring this up is because I won't be streaming, because I will be at the conference on Thursday, either presenting or checking out someone else's session. So you can just go down here to, there's my ugly mug. You can see my 2 sessions. Whoa. Extreme close-up. Extreme close-up. I'll be doing my Hangfire session, which went pretty good at KCDC. Looking forward to that again. And Intro to SQL++, which went very well at the Detroit DevWatch. We'll be doing that again at Codepalooza. So you can see right there, Thursday, I'll be giving that session, and Friday I'll be giving the other session. And my colleague, Rob Hedgepeth, is also going to be there as well. He'll be also presenting. Where are the 2 H's? That's weird. There's Rob Hedgepeth. He'll be doing 2 sessions as well. He's more of a mobile guy, so he'll be doing resilient mobile apps with NoSQL, and a broader question, to SQL or not to SQL. And that's the same time as me, so he'll be competing with me, which means everyone will probably go to him because he's a much more compelling and a much more handsome person than me. Either way, you can't lose. And there's lots of great sessions at Codepalooza, even if you're not interested in those topics. Lots of great stuff. So I'll be there at Codepalooza. I leave tomorrow, but no stream on Thursday because of that. All right, Twitch bot is on. All right, and for those of you who've come in, you may have seen this message. I tried to update it in the chat there, but you can type bang help, and you will get a command list whispered to you. Right now, it's only 2 commands. Current project and set current project. And set current project, I'm the only one who can do that. I only have permission to do that. But hopefully that works. That works for you, Gamlor. You got the help there. And you can type bang current project to see what I'm working on. I've already set it, but I'll just go ahead and demonstrate here in the channel. This is what I'll be working on today. I just put a link to some Okta docs. Okta docs. That's fun to say. Okta docs. It's about getting started with LinkedIn. So that's what I'll be working on today. And works for Gamlor too. So working fine. That's great. So we'll get on with that here. So yeah, that's the project today. We're going to open up the Scavenger Hunt, get it up and running again because I wiped out the data since the last time I did the stream. So we're going to start over again. Not a big deal. I'm going to try to add LinkedIn to it. We already have Okta support on it, so hopefully that still works. And then we're going to try to, right now you have to create an Okta account to do it. I'm going to try to add LinkedIn sign-in capabilities to that as well. If that's super easy, then the next thing I'm going to do is try to add GitHub to it. So you have 2 options there. You have LinkedIn and GitHub. And I think that's probably good enough for conferences because you're either going to be a developer and hopefully you have a GitHub account. If not, you probably should. Or you're going to be, maybe you're not like into source code. You're more of, you're doing the DevOps type stuff. So you still probably should have a GitHub account, but you may not. So LinkedIn is going to cover the rest of those people. And then there's lots of people that have both, like myself. So I think those 2 types of auth, types of sign-in are going to be good enough for Scavenger Hunt. If there's someone out there who doesn't have LinkedIn, doesn't have GitHub, well, then they can fall back and create the Okta account. So we're going to do that. If that's super easy, I even have a backup plan to that. So we're probably not going to get there, but I have a backup plan. So even if LinkedIn and GitHub takes us like no time to do, I have a backup plan. So that's what we're doing today. So let's get going. And see, we have some people in the room. So just a reminder, if you have questions about what's going on or just dev, programming, whatever questions, ask away. This is a safe place to ask questions. I'm not going to tolerate anybody saying that your question is stupid or anything like that. So ask away. Let's get those questions in. Yeah, any old time. All right, so Scavenger Hunt. All right, so I've got the Scavenger Hunt project. This is an ASP.NET Core project, and it uses Couchbase server. So what I need to do first is I need to create a bucket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the screen because the config file, the app settings file, contains some information about some secret stuff for Okta. So I don't want you to see that. I don't want that to be out there. So I just want to see the bucket name. I think it's just called Scavenger Hunt, but I want to make sure. Scavenger Hunt. There it is, right there. Okay. So I'll create a bucket called a Scavenger Hunt, and we don't need to give that a ton of memory. We'll just give it 100 megabytes of regular old Couchbase. Don't need any replication. All this other stuff is fine. Is this Scavenger Hunt a demo project or something you created? No clue what it is. Yeah, good question, Gambler. So it's kind of a demo project, but it's something I created, and it is designed for us to use. So I work for, let me take a step back here. I work for a company called Couchbase, and we often sponsor tech events, developer software events, much like Codepalooza. Now, we're not sponsoring Codepalooza, but events like Codepalooza. So what we came up with is an idea to get people more engaged, have a little fun, and win some prizes at the event. So we created something called Scavenger Hunt. It's probably not a great name for it, but the idea is you go to the site and you log in and you start answering questions. Some of them are really easy, some of them are more difficult, but they do require you to maybe read some documentation or write some SQL, to sort of hunt around, like a digital scavenger hunt, right? Not a scavenger hunt like in the actual conference center. And then as you answer questions, you get points, and you go on the leaderboard. And the people who have the top points at the end of the conference are going to win prizes. So at KCDC, we did this, and we gave prizes away. We gave Commodore 64 minis to the top 2 point getters. So it's really just kind of a way for us to engage at a deeper level. People can learn about Couchbase, have some fun, and get a prize. And so what I'm doing is, I did this already at KCDC. It was kind of our first trial run. We're going to try it again probably at All Things Open. And so we're going to try to make some enhancements to it before that conference starts. Did someone say prize? That's right, it's early dev. So no prizes in this channel, at least not yet. However, I've mentioned this before. If y'all want some Couchbase swag, I've got a little extra. I'm going to bring some with me to Codepalooza. But early dev, if you want some Couchbase stuff, I've got shirts, I got water bottles. Hey, Coding Gorilla. I got water bottles, shirts. I got notebooks. I actually saw this notebook, Surly Dev, in Wizard and the Princess. This is actually the book that I've used in Wizard of the Princess. But I've got some more of those. And I got stickers. So if you want prizes, if you want some swag, just give me a follow on Twitch if you haven't already. And then send me a whisper with your address, and I'll try to get something out to you. If you want a t-shirt, send me a size. Otherwise, I'll send you something else. Yeah, just give me a quick whisper. I'll look at that later with your address and send it out to you. So, hey, both of you, thanks for stopping in and saying hi. So we've got a... let's see, what was I doing here? Oh, yeah, I was trying to add this scavenger hunt bucket. I got sidetracked, I think. So no replicas necessary. I only have the one node. Oh yeah, I was going to play with Couchbase at some point. You absolutely should, and this is a great time actually. So the Couchbase 6.5 beta is just released, This is not meant for production. This is what I'm using right now, actually, 6.5 beta. But it comes with some really cool preview features like transactions, ACID transactions, and user-defined functions, and some stuff like scopes and collections. And there's some other stuff. I've covered this all in recent episodes, actually. Window functions is another cool one. Lots of cool stuff to play with there. And yeah, setting up OBS at the moment, so you might have a chance to come and troll me soon. Surly Dev, I would never troll you, but I would like to tune into your stream to see what you're up to, especially if you're doing some Couchbase. Gamalore, yeah, transactions. How are user-defined functions loaded in as JavaScripty functions or other way to include it? Yeah, I covered this in a previous episode, Gamalore, but the short answer is right now, user-defined functions in Couchbase can be defined as either JavaScript or as SQL. We call it Nickel is our implementation of SQL, N1QL. So you could create a function either way, with some JavaScript or with Nickel. So definitely check that out. In fact, if you go to the blog, you probably see something like this. But if you go to, let's see, go to server, yes, Nickel. So N1QL is what I'm talking about here. That's how we pronounce it, N1QL. So this is just SQL for JSON, and it's full-blown SQL. But anyway, this is 6.5 beta, what's new. So some of the things I talked about, ACID transactions is in there. We've got a new Scala SDK. Window functions, I've covered those. CTEs, I've covered those. Index Advisor, I've covered that. That's a very cool thing I like. User-defined functions, kind of like a Sprock, but it's not exactly like a Sprock, so user-defined functions. Some analytic stuff, eventing, and then some other things like that's more ops related. But yeah, I mean, for me, the big one is transactions. I haven't had a chance to play with these yet on the stream, but it's something that is really, really cool, and I'm super glad, because I get asked about this a lot, and I have to say, well, not really. You can kind of get around with design patterns, and good data design, but now I can definitely say yes, transactions. So I'm happy about that. But I need to get to play with them sometime today. We actually have an internal meeting today to check out transactions a little more. So when I'm leaving the stream today, I'll be going right over to that meeting. Anyway, I got sidetracked again. You guys keep sidetracking with your questions. This is great. Keep them coming. All right, so we've got Scavenger Hunt bucket set up. The other thing I need for Scavenger Hunt is I need this travel sample, and we may not get to the reason why I need that, but I do need that set up. Next thing I need to do is I need to create some indexes on this Scavenger Hunt. So I'll create this. I have some indexes written down in a text file. This is not terribly automated. It should be. I just haven't got around to that yet. SS Dragon ZPT. Hey, do you understand video cables like HDMI, VGA? Do I understand them? I don't know if I understand them at a deep technical level, but I do understand them in the sense that as I do a lot of presentations, I often have to fight with them. So I have like adapters and stuff. I actually have an adapter that should be arriving today from Amazon for my brand new Lenovo over here. It has a different output. It has Thunderbolt, different output than my last, or has Mini Thunderbolt, whatever it's called, than my last laptop. So I need a new adapter for that. But anyway, SS Dragon, shoot with your questions. Do you know how with a VGA you have to use headphones to hear sound? Okay, so this is because VGA is actually a very old, I don't know what you call it, technology, I guess, and it does not transmit sound. So if you want sound, you have to listen to it another way. Unlike HDMI, for instance, which includes video and sound and possibly some other data as well, because it's a more modern technology. HDMI will to put your sound through the monitor. Yeah, that's correct. So if your monitor, my monitors don't have sound on them, so it just sort of ignores that. But yeah, my television, for instance, does have sound on it. So HDMI will go into the TV, and so it will play sound through the speakers of the TV. Now I actually have, on my TV in my living room, I have a sound output from the TV to a sound bar. So the sound sort of goes from my Roku into the TV and then back to the sound bar. That's how my setup is. But with HDMI, you don't have to use headphones. So with HDMI, does sound come from a PC or monitor? Yeah, it's daisy chain sound. Yeah, so SS Dragon. So I don't know if I can. With HDMI, you don't have to use headphones. So HDMI, does sound come from PC or monitor? I think. So when you get sound from, because with like VGA, I know that comes from PC, obviously. So HDMI, does sound come from PC or monitor? I think. So if you have a setup like mine, where you have like a tower and you have monitors, if your monitors have speakers, then they will play sound from HDMI. In my case, I don't have speakers on my monitors, so I still have to use headphones, or I could connect speakers to my desktop. And actually, what I have is, you can't really tell in most episodes, but I have this podcasting mic, and my headphones are plugged right into this podcasting mic, so that I can monitor the sound as I talk. So I'm not an expert on how this stuff works. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong like 90% of the time. But Surly Dev, when I have USB headphones plugged in, I can click on the speaker icon on my system tray and choose whether to use speakers or headphones. Yes, I believe in my case Windows, but also Mac or Linux would handle this audio settings for you. They would decide where the sound goes to. And some cases you can go to multiple places. Yes, so that is a realm, hardware and stuff like that, and audio, where I am far, far from an expert. I just sort of know enough to make it work, and if something goes even slightly wrong, I'm completely lost. So, yeah, but thanks for the question. And I think Surly Dev probably knows more than I do. But the PCs may not have sound card. So SS Dragon, I haven't seen a PC without a sound card in probably 20 years. I mean, every motherboard these days has at least a built-in sound card. And I don't even know, do people even buy separate sound cards? Except for like, specialty, like if you're a DJ or something. Well, please don't use that kind of language, SS Dragon. But also, you're not. It's a totally a fair question. It's if I hadn't built a couple tower PCs recently, I would have assumed that I'm going to have to buy a Sound Blaster or something, because that's when I grew up. Computers had a speaker in them that would beep. But if you wanted real sound, you'd have to buy a separate sound card, like a Sound Blaster or an AdLib or something like that. That's how old I am. I had an AdLib years old. A Sound Blaster. Actually, my first sound card that I bought with my own paper round money was called a Thunderboard. Sound, was it called Thunder something? Yes, Thunderboard. That's what I bought. It was a Sound Blaster compatible. Do you remember jumpers, Matthew D. Grove? So jumpers, in terms of like just little, I don't know if we maybe see them on here, like these little guys right here. Oh, that's not a good one. These little guys right here, where you set the IRQ that you want to use. Yep, of course I remember that. And thank goodness we don't have to do that nonsense anymore. But I bought Thunderboard because it was kind of a, I believe, low cost, Sound Blaster compatible. Let's see. I was using the Commodore Amiga back then. We had built-in sound. Yeah, the Amiga had built-in sound. I remember that. Amiga was kind of ahead of its time in terms of like media capabilities. What amazes me is how some copper inside cables can make GPU data show on monitor. Some copper inside cables can make GPU data show on monitor. So you're just amazed by all the physics of it. Which, I mean, we all kind of take it for granted, but yeah, absolutely, it is incredible. Like all this little electrons whizzing around the copper to make all this stuff happen. Hardware stuff, I mean, I don't know if mazes is the right word, but it's just so far beyond me. I take it so much for granted these days, I guess. It's more amazing than flying cars to me. Well, flying cars aren't really a thing that's happening, so that's probably not terribly difficult to it's kind of a low bar. But it really is, if you think about it, SS Dragon. I mean, it is incredible. Like, all this technology, stepping on the moon. Well, I mean, they say, like, the Apollo, like, we have the equivalent of, like, what, 1 million Apollo computers just in our devices these days. I don't know if it's 1 million, but yeah, I mean, stepping on the moon with really primitive version of this technology. Like this Thunderboard I'm showing you on the screen here, this probably has more computing power than like the whole Apollo series of rockets. Surly Dev is sending me a link. I'm going to trust you on this one, Surly Dev. What is this? Mahler.com? Flying cars. Okay. Indistinguishable from Magic, manufacturing modern computer chips. Yes. So there's a video. You should check that out. Gamalore. I don't think I've seen that one before. Holy, we went from 5 megabyte cards being top tier to having 256 gigabyte on your standard phone. I mean, SS Dragon, you're clearly maybe in the same age bracket as I am, and you've seen some stuff come and go, right? And yeah, it's wild. Like when I installed this Thunderboard card in a PC back then, I think it had 4 megabyte of memory, and it only came with 2 megabyte, and I had to upgrade with like a $60-$70 memory kit just to play Doom. So, yes, I certainly remember those days, and it's just amazing. When I had my very first smartphone, it was a Windows Mobile 6 smartphone. I was feeling the same sort of thing that you're feeling. It's just, I can't believe I can do this I have internet in my pocket. I have a computer. I can play games. I can look at spreadsheets. I can write apps for that. It's just crazy. Windows Mobile 5. Yeah, I didn't go back that far. I started with 6, and I think it upgraded to 6.5 at some point. That was my favorite smartphone. Still is to this day. Is that HTC brick with Windows Mobile 6 on it. Love that so much. And it's a real shame that they sort of ditched that. I remember buying my first 2 gigabyte hard drive for like $250, and that was so much storage. Yeah, we had an 8088. We bought a 20 meg hard drive was our first one, and through some crazy thing, we had to buy a controller as well for the hard drive, and for some reason that controller gave us an extra 10 megabytes of space with that brand, and 30 megabyte hard drive. I mean, that's just like nothing right now. Let's see, how much RAM did PCs have when you were younger? Well, so the first computer I owned was a TRS-80. That's not I don't know if you call that a PC. TRS-80, and I got this wrong before, but it had 4 kilobytes of RAM, which was pretty good back then. 4 kilobytes. That's 4,000 bytes, essentially. Yeah, that's not very much. I don't know if you call that a PC, but my first 8088, my first PC, like IBM compatible PC, was an Intel 8088, and it came with the standard, doesn't say in this Wikipedia page, but the sort of upper limit for MS-DOS back then was 640K. 640K, which is a number you've probably heard before. It's there's this quote about Bill Gates and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, conventional memory, I believe is what that was called. So it had maxed out conventional memory. And that's what I had with the 8088. And then we upgraded to a 386 SX, which came with 2 megabytes of what's called extended memory. And there's this whole thing with UMA and HMA. And the thing was, DOS programs really couldn't address anything higher than 640K unless you had like special software. So yeah, that upgraded eventually to 4 megabytes. And then after that, I kind of lost track. Like I think I probably got to like 16 megabytes. And I don't remember. Then I don't know. I just kind of a blur after that. Yeah, 4 megabytes. Yeah, I mean 4 megabytes is what you needed to run Doom back then. You could play Wolfenstein with 2 megabytes, and you could play Doom with 4 megabytes. And now we have 16 gig of RAM. Yes, and so let me actually bring up my monitor here just to show you what I'm dealing with now on this computer. 32 gig of memory on this desktop I'm using here, and that's what I think I have on my laptop as well, is something between 16 and 32 meg of memory on that. And that's just RAM, and then disk space is a whole different question. Disk space is now so ridiculously cheap. It's just incredible how cheap it is, which I talk about a little bit in my session at Codepalooza coming up, Intro to SQL++, and how it fits into the story of SQL and NoSQL and all that kind of stuff. Okay, wow, Thunderboard. Yep, I remember this Thunderboard. I had a jar in my bedroom, and I would take my paper route money, my profits, and I'd put some of it in there, and I put a label on the jar that said Thunderboard, and I put a little lightning bolt on there. And I was saving up to buy a Thunderboard, and someone was actually selling a used one on a BBS somewhere for like $50, something like that. So I got a used Thunderboard through a BBS, and it was like a super happy day for me. It's kind of like back then buying a video card or a sound card was kind of like buying a game system. When will we reach 1 petabyte of hard disk drive? 2025 maybe? Like a single hard drive with 1 petabyte? I don't know. I'm sure that probably there's terabytes now, right? So I'm sure someone has a petabyte hard drive somewhere. It's just probably either really big or really expensive. The thing is, like, disk space for me, like it really, we used to say this back then, like, I'm never going to run out of disk space. But right now, I store so much stuff on the internet in the cloud somewhere that do I really need this much disk space? I mean, I have a media server over in the corner of my office over here I have like TV shows and movies and stuff on. And I mean, I don't really come close to using up that space just for movies and TV. So hard drive space isn't really a thing right now for us consumers. For cloud, for server people, it's probably a much bigger deal. It'll take too long to download data onto it. More likely we'll get better infrastructure like 5G and mobile phones. I think you're probably right there. I think the pendulum may swing back and forth, but if we have fast enough network, do you really need that much hard drive space locally? So your hard drive is kind of like a cache right now for the internet, if you think of it like that. And if you have fast enough access to stream like a video game, for instance, do you really need to have an Xbox disc or download an Xbox game to a hard drive if you can just stream the bits that you need just in time, for instance? That's I think I kind of see us heading that direction, but it's hard to predict those kind of things. We have made no progress on the scavenger hunt, but that's fine. What you Americans don't see, oh boy, here we go. What you Americans don't seem to consider is the ubiquity of Wi-Fi and network is not the same worldwide as it is in the middle of San Francisco, for instance. What I kind of hear, Surly Dev, in America anyway, is the opposite. And people complaining like, oh, they have so much better internet in Korea and Japan and whatnot. Uh, I think in America, I think we do understand, or at least, well, maybe not people in San Francisco or New York, but most of America, like where I am in Ohio, kind of, out in the Midwest, in the middle of the country, we understand that the internet is not even all over, all over the country, certainly all over the world. Um, so yeah, I kind of agree with you, Surly Dev. I would say in really population dense areas, it can be super great, super fast, reliable internet, like Korea, maybe San Francisco, things like that. But out here in Ohio, I mean, we're there's a lot of people out here, but it's just we're all spread out. Mind if I ask where in Ohio you are? I'm in Central Ohio. I'm in a suburb of Columbus. If I tell you the name of the city I'm in, you're not going to believe me. Let's see. I used Wi-Fi on a German train last week for 3 hours. Connected to my Raspberry Pi at home via VNC without disruption once. When I visited Seattle, the household internet was quite bad for such a large city. Yeah. You're from Toledo, now in Texas. Yeah, so I'll go through Toledo every once in a while, get myself some Tony Pacos. That's Toledo for me equals Tony Pacos. I love me some Pacos conies. So every time I go through there, I'll stop and get some, either just to eat or to take home with me. If you don't mind me asking, where are you in Texas, Coding Gorilla? Because I have lots of family in the Houston area, Galveston area, so I'll make not frequent, but often go down there. In fact, I will be going on a cruise here in April out of Galveston, outside Dallas, Fairview. So I'm not sure where Fairview is, but I used to work for a company based in Dallas in Plano area. So I go down there every once in a while to the Plano offices. But actually, as a DA, I travel to a lot of cities. I haven't. I have been to Dallas for an event at one of our customers, MoneyGram. So I've been to MoneyGram in Dallas, but I didn't spend a lot of time there. So you're north of Plano. Okay, so you're probably maybe within close distance of all the lakes and stuff up there. I don't know like the layout very much, but a guy I knew on my team from Dallas. He used to talk about all the lakes north of Dallas. He would love to go hang out those lakes. All right. Okay, so the danger of allowing questions is that don't actually get any work done, but that's fine. That's totally fine, because that's the whole point of Twitch is to interact with everyone in the chat room. Get your questions in. I love to talk about what you're interested in. But let's see what I can do here. Did I get this? Did I execute this index? I forget. So we need an index on the type field on Scavenger Hunt. Okay, so if we go to indexes here, view by buckets, Scavenger Hunt, got the one there. The other one that I need is a primary index, which I kind of want to get away from. But that's a whole other episode to try to figure out how to remove the primary index from my list of indexes here. Okay, and we'll put some initialization data in there. This is just a nickel insert statement. I'm inserting one document with this key, and it contains this JSON here. And this is just a list of people who are admins by their email address. I loaded a VOD of Laboratory 424 because I wanted to remind myself of some of the things he told me after I asked a question. I realized we scrolled for 26 minutes. I don't think I've been on Laboratory 424 stream. Is he on? He's not on the Twitch team, is he? Or the Live Coders team? I think live coding on Twitch is a great way to interact with other developers and learn stuff, but it is not a great way to be extra productive. And I've made that clear to all the stakeholders in this, that we're going to engage the community. We're going to show some cool stuff. We're not going to get very efficient work done on the stream, and that's totally fine. He builds stuff. It's not a coder stream. Okay, but it's like he's building cool tech stuff. That's absolutely someone who could be on the live coders team. Maybe, I don't know. He's interested. Yeah, that's why I want to stream, to learn off other people. Absolutely, this is a great way. Learning in public is something that I think a lot of developers are uncomfortable with the idea of, and that's fine. If that makes you nervous, the idea of learning in front of people, that's fine. But I find it to be incredibly valuable to learn in front of people, because it sort of forces me to learn, to make mistakes, to learn from them, and it shows that, hey, you don't have to be, and I'm far from this, but you don't have to be absolutely perfect, super 10x developer to get to do some cool stuff. So yeah, the best way to learn is to teach someone else. That's kind of why I got into speaking in the first place. And that is the secret, is I'm up there and I'm teaching. I'm like just 5 minutes ahead of you, basically. Hey, thanks for the follow, SS Dragon ZPT. Let me know if I can pronounce your handle better. But thank you for the follow. Hopefully the HDMI VGA stuff helps you out there. Your tagline is learning by mistakes. Yeah, that's a good tagline. My tagline is the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. That's what I say at the beginning of every stream. And so questions. I love them. I realize that the experts are only a couple steps ahead of the audience. Yeah, I think I agree. Now, that's not always true. There are some experts who are just like way ahead of us. But for the most part, the experts are just the people who are willing to stand up and talk and share their experiences. Yeah, same with writing blog posts. Exactly the same thing, Gambler. It's just learning in public, because you put out a blog post that here's what I did to solve this problem, and you open yourself up to hopefully helpful criticism, to say, oh, you could have just done this, or this is a fast way to do it, or I disagree with that. And that's sometimes intimidating, but you got to embrace that. My definition of expert is an X is a has-been and a spurt is a drip under pressure. All right. You're a drip has-been. Okay, so I think I'm set. Oh, the analytics. So these need to be run in the analytics portion here. We'll create a travel data set. And we're probably not going to use this, but we'll go ahead and set it up anyway and link up analytics. So what I just did there with those 2 lines of code was I created an ETL, I'll call it, that in real time copies data from travel sample over to a shadow bucket in analytics. So any changes in travel sample will also get copied over to analytics. The difference is the analytics data is isolated from operational data. So I can run super complicated queries on this and not have any worry about affecting my customers, my users. So, a lot of times you have to create an ETL for that. So copy from one SQL database to another, or from multiple databases to some data warehouse. This is just 2 lines and away we go. So let's see. I've done that, again, well, not as a blog as such, but I Googled stuff and found my Stack Overflow post. Sometimes my own answer. Yep. I've been there. Because chances are, if I had the problem, then I'm going to have it again in the future, because I'm going to forget. Yeah, the unsolved Stack Overflow question, that is not a good feeling. Okay, so I think we're all set to go. Let's fire up this Scavenger Hunt website. It's going to be empty. It's going to be a blank website. But we're mainly worried about authentication, authorization at this point, so that's fine. We can just want to make sure it works. We got a null reference exception. Let's try this. That's not good. That's not good. Probably need to figure out why that is happening. Get admin email addresses. Get admin email addresses. I figure if I put a question out there and find the answer, then I owe it to the community to share my answer. Admin users. I created that document, didn't I? Admin users? What? Did I not actually execute this? Admin users. Well, no wonder it didn't find it. It didn't actually create the document. However, that's probably this fix this. Fix this. If document doesn't exist, this results in a null ref exception. Not a big deal right now. Okay, there we go. So I'm not logged in, but if we go to leaderboards here, this should redirect me to Okta. Great. And then I can sign in with Okta. And it redirected back to the site. And there we go. And now I have admin access, so I can start adding zones like a test zone to expire next week. Test zone. A zone is just a kind of like corresponds to an event. Like I have a KCDC zone. I have an all things open zone. I have some, I had a MoneyGram zone, for instance. Yeah, SS Dragon. There's actually an XKCD comic about that exact situation, I think. Let's see if we can find it here. Wisdom of the Ancients. Yep, this is it right here. Never have I felt so close to another soul, and yet so helplessly alone, as when I Google an error, and there's one result. A thread by someone with the same problem, and no answer. Last posted to in 2003. Who were you, Denver Coder 9? What did you see? But I mean, your point is, never mind found solution. Yeah, maybe you should post that solution. And that kind of goes to the same thing. Like maybe, they're kind of shy or they're nervous about learning in public. And I found the solution. Maybe they felt like their solution was, oh, I did something wrong. I was an idiot. So I'm just going to sheepishly walk away. But what they should really do is absolutely post the answer. Like, what did they do to solve the problem? And but again, this goes back to the, some people are a little nervous about learning in public, that sort of thing. So it's ideally we'd want them to post the answer. All long help threads should have a sticky, globally editable post at the top saying, "Dear people from the future, here's what we figured out so far." All right, so this is my test zone. My instructions, my test zone description, my instructions. Let's make it public, and that should work fine. So there we go. So now I've got a test zone created here. That's all well and good. Now the thing is, if you go to this, let's say you're at the event, and I have a sign at the booth that says, "Hey, go to this scavenger hunt. Here's a link for it." It's a bit.ly link or something. It takes you here, and so then you go say, "Okay, I'm going to go into the KCDC test zone." Okay, bam. Now you've presented with this screen right here. And this screen right here is basically you either log in or you sign up for an account down here at the bottom. The sign up link isn't super apparent. We could customize this, but that's what you guys do, sign up. What I think was deterring people is that, well, I don't want to have to create another account. I want to use my LinkedIn account or my Twitter account or my GitHub account or so on. So that's what I want to do, is I want to give users an option to do that. So why don't I bring up this link here, and we're going to go to Okta, and they have a link here that says, here's how to set up a LinkedIn app. And, this is what I want. Configure LinkedIn as an identity provider in Okta. So I need to figure out the steps to follow here. And I am far from an Okta expert. I just know enough to be dangerous with it. But what I want to happen is a sign in with LinkedIn, little icon to show up there. So, yes, so I need to, let me just sign users in with LinkedIn. Yep, okay. So I need to create a LinkedIn account. That's the first thing I need to do. So let's go over here to linkedin.com/developers, and we'll create an account. My last place was setting up Okta to log into the Office 365 stuff. Yeah, and I think we do that here at Couchbase as well. Like everything we do within the enterprise, and even some other stuff like forums and stuff, it all goes through Okta. That's kind of one of the reasons I chose to use Okta for this project. Even though I'm not using our official Okta account, I wanted to kind of familiarize myself. So is this using LinkedIn for authentication? It is not yet. That's what I want to do today. I want to get us to the point where we use LinkedIn to authentication. Because right now, yes, I am managing accounts passwords, all that kind of stuff. And managing the accounts isn't a big deal because people aren't going to come back to the site very often. It's just for us to kind of keep track of people and assign points, things like that. So managing password isn't a big deal. It's more about the creation of the account. That's the deal there. Gamlore is, what is Okta? Is it an SSO library, or what does it do exactly? So Okta it's basically, an Okta DA probably described much better than me, but it's like identity as a service. So Okta manages your accounts, your login screens, and security, all that kind of stuff. So so you're not necessarily interfacing with LinkedIn. I might need to use LinkedIn API because there might be some data we want to pull from the LinkedIn profile. But it looks like in order to set up LinkedIn on Okta, I need to create a LinkedIn developer account. So let's see if I can do this here. So I'm going to call this Couchbase Scavenger Hunt. Company you select will be associated with your app. Verification being done by page admin. So I don't necessarily want to do that. So you don't have to store the user, log in yourself at all. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yes. Yeah, I'm storing some data about them, about users, like their name and maybe it's some contact info, their employer, things like that, phone number. Although I don't necessarily need all those things. I really just need, if I'm LinkedIn, I need to know how to get to the LinkedIn profile if I want to follow up with them after the event or something. I have to create a company. Oh, this is kind of, This is required, a company page. Well, if I put in Couchbase, there's a company page for it, but I am not a page admin there. Let's just try it, I guess. Privacy policy URL, I don't know. Business email, Matthew.gross. How are you tying LinkedIn profiles to whatever people are allowed to access in your system? So in my system, there's only really two types of users. There's a public user who can do whatever. They can do just the public stuff. And there's admins who can actually create the, if you look here, like this admin area. This should only show up for admins. And the only way I'm checking that right now is based on email address. So earlier when I did this query, I said these are the admin users, and they have these email addresses. So if you log in, you don't have that email address, then you're not an admin. If you log in, you have this email address, you are an admin. Now that may have to change with LinkedIn. Hopefully not, but they may have to change. So it's very, very simple, Surly Dev. I'm not doing anything crazy with, different claims and things like that. At least not yet. Hopefully I won't have to. All right, app logo. Okay, that's required. So I have this. Where is my logo at? I think it might be in the Scavenger Hunt somewhere here. Images. Yeah, here it is. Couchbase Developer Community. Yeah, that'll work. So where is that? That's in www.root. So upload this logo. CZproj Scavenger. Oh, what did I call it? I call it SQL Scavenger. I used to call it SQL Scavenger Hunt was the original name. UI, www.root, images, this one. Okay. Let's see. Share on LinkedIn. I mean, I guess that'd be fine. Sign up with LinkedIn is what I really want. Legal terms. Yep, I've totally read those legal terms. I absolutely would understand and read them. Yep. I did that earlier. Sure. All right, let's see what happens here. This app is not verified as being associated with this company. Okay, I don't care. As long as it works, I don't need it to be associated with the company. This is kind of this is not really a, marketing effort, right? This is just kind of almost like a skunkworks type of thing we're doing here. Okay, so I've got that. Create a LinkedIn app here. Okay, yeah, I did all that. Save the OAuth client ID and secret values so you can add them to Okta configuration next system. Okay, so I need to do that off screen. So I need the LinkedIn OAuth client ID and secret. Whoop. Use Notepad. Top secret stuff goes in Notepad. Oh, you're safe. It's just us. You can do it on the screen. We won't mess with you, I promise. Maybe you won't, Michael Jolly, but I would not hold it. I would not be surprised if Surly Dev immediately started messing with it if I posted that token on the stream. By the way, thanks for joining us, Michael Jolly. Thanks for stopping in, saying hi. Now I need to figure out where on this thing is those things. Looks like I already showed the client ID on the screen. So hopefully that's not a big deal, because it's not very useful without the secret, which I didn't show on the screen. But there is the secret, so I have that now. I represent that accusation. I probably would. I resemble that remark. All right, under default application permissions, make sure that our light profile and our email address are selected. You can leave the authorized redirect URLs section blank for now, so you'll return to it later. You're setting up OBS. How do you get it as a source in MS Teams? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I haven't used MS Teams yet. Okay, so let me bring up my Okta, what do you call it, dashboard here. And a couple Okta accounts. Oh, I got to use my Okta multi-factor authentication. By the way, just full disclosure here. So when I tell you I'm dumb, you'll believe me. Is that I was interacting with Okta support yesterday because I had locked myself out of the account. And the guy in support said, oh, we just need to reset your MFA. And I was like, what's MFA? What does that mean? What are you talking about? And multi-factor authentication is what he meant, which is the thing where they send you a text message and give you a code. And that's what I'm doing right now with an app. I have an Okta app on my phone that generates a code. You know, Steam does this same sort of thing, and everybody does this sort of thing. Two-factor authentication, but MFA is more general, right? It's multi-factor authentication. Okay. I don't see anything on this dashboard that looks sensitive, so that's where I'm at right now. This is the classic UI of Okta. There's also a developer console. What's the next step? According to this, is to, under default application permissions, make sure that our light profile and our email address are selected. So default application permissions. So I've got these applications, and this might be sensitive, so let me move it over here. Default application permissions. Default application permissions. I'm not seeing anything like that. Default application permissions. Let me switch over to developer console. Applications. It's like the same type of thing here. Under default application permissions. Okay. I don't see anything like that. There's default application permissions. So I see applications. So I have an application called Couchbase DA, for instance, but I don't see anything about permissions here. Let's see, security. I don't know. There's security general. Authentication. No, it's not multi-factor. I'm not even seeing the word permission anywhere. Let's see. Security. Default application permissions. There's a sign-on policy, but I don't see anything about permissions here. All right. Well, I don't know. Let's come back to that, I guess. Configure LinkedIn as an identity provider. So sign into your Okta org. On the main page, click the admin button in the upper right. Okay. So there's already a problem here. On the main page, there is no admin on the upper right. Even if I go over to Classic UI, there's no admin up here in the upper right. So I'm a little confused about these directions. If you use a developer console, okay, I'll switch to developer console. Hover your cursor over users until the menu opens, and then click social and identity providers. Okay, I'm finding that. If you use the classic UI, okay, this may be, I'm already here in the admin area, so this step's making sense. Okay, and then okay, here we are in identity providers. All right, it reminds me of Azure sign-in automation stuff. Took me a long time to figure out the correct permissions, even with a guide. Yeah, this is really not my area at all, and I'm far from an Okta expert. I'm sure if an Okta person is watching this, they're probably like throwing stuff at the screen, like, why can't you see that thing there? Oh my goodness! I totally sympathize with them because I've been in that position before. But so I am not. I'm not. None of this is criticism of Okta, in as much as unless it's helpful to them, if it's constructive, great. But so far, Okta's been great for this application. So I'm not trying to say bad things about Okta. It's just I don't know enough yet. I'm working on it. Okay, add identity. So there's add identity provider here. Look at that. So I'm seeing LinkedIn as an option. Good. I'm not seeing GitHub as an option. So that might be one of these two down here, SAML or OpenID Connect. Those might be generic versions of these, but let's go to add LinkedIn. Okay, so we can add identity provider. Notice I have to paste secret in here. Hey, wait a second. These look familiar. Under default application permissions, make sure that our light profile and our email address are selected. Okay, this doesn't say default application permissions, but they're showing up here, so I hope that's a good sign. All right. Okay. We suggest using the name you'd expect to see on a button, something like logged in to LinkedIn. Okay, so log in to LinkedIn. Maybe log in with LinkedIn. Okay, my client ID. I assume that is the LinkedIn, the client ID, and the client secret. And the scopes. Let's see what else we have. So these are the scopes available to LinkedIn. Very interesting. All kinds of different stuff. So in general, what I look for in my profile, and we don't necessarily need to get these things, but if we look at like a user document, things that I'm trying to store, email, title, company name, phone is optional, first name, last name, and this is not something I get from the profile. This is something I build myself. So first name, last name, company name, title would be good, email address would be good. Email address would be very important, in fact. Sudo, please, oh good, let me in, -force. All right, so email address seems to already be there. What about name? First name, last name. Okay, cool. Is there title in here? Doesn't look like there's title. They might call something different. Surly Dev and Michael Jolly having a conversation about some OBS stuff. Looking forward to seeing what Surly Dev is going to be streaming. Although time zone, I don't know if it'll work out for me, but I'll try my best to stop in Surly when you're streaming and give you a hard time. I'm just wondering if there's anything like a title in here. If not, not a big deal. Is anything like company or employer? So that might be, yeah. Oh, position fields. The title of the position. Okay, well, I don't want to get too crazy with this just yet. Let's just get it working. Okay, protocol is OAuth 2. I'll do it at your 6 a.m. so you're all fresh and alert, and we'll set you up for a good day. Let me tell you, Surly Dev, I am not awake at 6 a.m. and I would be surly if it was 6 a.m. So there's only room enough on Twitch for one Surly Dev. All right, let's see. Client secret, leave set to the default. Well, it says leave set to default. I added some more. Hopefully that doesn't break anything. All right, advanced settings. Once you complete all these fields, click on Add Identity Provider. You'll be returned to the main identity providers page. On the identity provider page, you should find the LinkedIn identity provider you just added. Once you've found the entry, copy both the authorized URL and redirect URL, ending in /authorize callback. Once you've found the entry. Okay, so I've got some URLs there. Great. I'll copy those off to my notepad. I don't know how sensitive those are. Not sure why I need these. But we'll see. Just making some notes here off screen. Authorize URL, redirect URI. Ending in authorized callback. Yep. Next, add the Okta redirect URI to LinkedIn. Okay, in your LinkedIn's app page. Where is my LinkedIn's app page? Find the OAuth 2. So here's my apps. Again, off screen here because I don't want to show anything sensitive. Yeah, it's not verified. Under authorized redirect URLs, find the OAuth 2 section. Oh, under auth maybe? Yep, there it is. Okay. Paste in the redirect URI from step 2.5 above. Okay, perfect. There it is. Update it. Beautiful. All right. Next, register an OpenID Connect application in Okta. Back in the Okta Administrator UI. Okay, I'm there. Click Applications. Click Add Application. I've already got an application. On the Add Application, create new app. Click the appropriate platform use case. Okay. Add one or more redirect URIs. So where the user is redirected. Okay, LinkedIn. Assign the group of your choosing, or leave the everyone default. Under grant type allowed, make sure you enable implicit. Grant type allowed, implicit. Okay, right now implicit is not checked, so let's check that one. Authorization code grant type also works. Oh, I already have that then. Okay, forget it. Leave it the way it is. In the client credentials section. In the client credentials section. Okay. Copy your client ID, which you use to complete your authorized URL in the next step. Okay. So this is my client ID. This is riveting streaming, I'm sure, since you're not being able to see all this stuff. Okta client ID. Okay. Next, complete your authorized URL. How many more steps are there? Are we almost done here? Okay. The Okta identity provider that you created in section 2 above generated. Section 2 above generated an authorized URL with a number of blank parameters you must now fill in. Yes, that is true. Okay. So I have all this URL, fine. So just got to fill it in. Just to, I don't know if I want to show it to you or not. With fill-in version, so client ID is, I copied in step 4.9, which was 4.9. that was the client credentials from Okta, I guess. Okay. All right, scope. Terms of claim, this should have at least OpenID. Fine, I'll put that in there. OpenID. Response type. In terms of what flow it should be used, this should be ID token. Okay. Response mode, this should be fragment. Fine. I don't know what any of this means. State protects against cross-site request forgery. So what do I put in there? Protects against cross-site request forgery. I don't know what I'm supposed to put in. It just says state equals state. Nonce, a string included in the return ID token. Use it to associate a client session with an ID token and to mitigate replay attacks. Again, so what do I put in there? And redirect URI. The location where Okta returns a browser after the user has finished authenticating against their social login provider. The URL must start with HTTPS and must match one of the URLs usually step 4 or 5. Okay. I guess I'll just put in that one there. Example of, okay, here's an example. I don't see state or nonce in there. Does anybody else see that? So here it is. Authorize, fine. Client ID, yep. Response ID, response mode, scope, yep. Redirect ID. So state equals something and nonce equals something. Where do those come from? Do I just put something arbitrary in there? I'm not going to use those things in the example. I'll just put something else in there. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, next, using LinkedIn for login. There are 4 primary ways to kick off the flow to sign in with LinkedIn. HTML link, custom hosted sign-in page. This is what I have. You can add a login with LinkedIn button by adding the following code. Your LinkedIn. So maybe this link is only for this. If I'm using the custom sign-in page, maybe I don't even need that, which would be a relief, because I'm pretty sure I didn't do that right. Let's see. I didn't 100% follow you. I recently worked on Azure SSO. The state there was a generated random value, and it was passed to the system and verified. It's the same when the callback came in. I guess it's something similar. Yeah, I think it's telling me to build this link, but only if I want to create something to put on my own hosted page. But I'm using a Okta hosted page. I don't think I need this. So I have configured a custom Okta hosted sign-in page. I think I can add the following code. All right, so let me just bring this up here. Custom, what is this linked to? Yeah, okay. So it's not a widget either. So well, let's find where I can find the sign-in page. Let's see, sign-in page, customization. Okay, great, and I add the following code. Where do I add the following code? IDPS? IDPS? I don't see that on here. Custom URL domain must be set up. What? Oh, So I need to paste this somewhere. I don't know where. I'm seeing a custom sign-in page. User and password customize. Forgotten password. Yeah, okay. Where do I actually... edit the sign-in page. I don't see where this is supposed to go. Where do I put that? Config, get sign-in widget config. Adding code configuration. So yeah, but I don't quite understand where that configuration is. Customization sign-in page. Customization appearance. That's just images. I don't care about that. Domain name. I'm not worried about that right now. Sign-in page. It seems like it should be somewhere here in the sign-in page. So here's what I'm looking at. I hope there's not anything sensitive on here. But here's a customized sign-in page, and it says I need to put this IDPS somewhere with whatever this IDP ID is. I assume that's the LinkedIn client ID. I don't know. But I'm not seeing that anywhere on here. I could be just super blind. Does anyone see anything that looks like where this IDPS stuff would go? Custom error page. I'm not trying to change the error page. Applications. Oh well, let's try it. Let's look someplace else. Easily embeddable JavaScript widget reproduces a look. So I'm using the hosted sign-in page. Hosted sign-in page is what I'm doing. Let's go to classic UI. Let's switch over to that. Identity providers. Yeah. Settings. I don't know. Appearance. Features. No. Counts. Well, this might be a chance for me to Google some answer here. We're looking for Okta IDPS. I don't know. Search for LinkedIn, I guess. And this is the hosted sign-in page. Hosted sign-in. Edit the sign-in page. The customized sign-in page offers both basic, IDPS. Change headings and labels. Widget version. Okay. Embedded HTML editor. Yeah, but I don't see where to put this setting. Take the LinkedIn out of here. jeez. Edit the sign-in page. Use the sign-in widget. Component. Interact with the user. What's this? Something on GitHub. Okay, fine. I don't get it. Where am I supposed to put this? Whoops. I'm supposed to put this. Whatever this value, I need to figure out what this value is, but I think I can probably guess that. But where do I put it? It's got to be under customization sign-in page. This has got to be where it's going to go. Customize help links. I mean, that's all great and everything, but I'm trying to get it to bring up LinkedIn. Configured sign-in page. Log in with LinkedIn button by adding the following code. Oh, I really need a better example of this. Overview. Like if I could see IDPS. So interesting. There's Twitch support here, but LinkedIn's not listed. So identity providers. So that's IDPS is identity providers. Interesting that Twitch is here, but not LinkedIn. Okay. How do I add that to my page? PS. I just want to add that LinkedIn button here. That's all I want to do. It's a support question. Maybe this will give me an example. Okay. What about this? Well, maybe I can look for example here. I don't know. I'm not. This is like if I'm hosting one though, right? I don't want to host a widget. I just want Okta to do everything. Well, I don't suppose. I don't know. It's just. I don't suppose it's already showed up somehow. No, it's not there. Okta hosted sign-in page. Users attempt to sign in. Okay. End users. Yeah. Okay. Custom hosted sign-in page guide. Edit the sign-in page. Fine. I don't want to bypass it. What else? Use macros. Oh, the dev pane. Surfing documentation, being puzzled. Yeah. Yep. This is a lot of being a developer. Learning new stuff is just puzzling through the documentation. IDPS, anything like that? No. Customization examples. Add your own style sheet. Add your own scripts. Okay, fine. But I don't see anything here about that IDPS stuff. Request context. So if we go over here, is there a, let's see, sign-in page. There's this Okta util, get sign-in widget config. I mean, if I could edit this, can I edit this? Like the actual HTML? I don't. Why would it show it if I can't edit it? Does this correspond to the actual sign? Let me just look at that real quick. I'm going to do open incognito here. Sign in, background image. I don't know. Just says sign in, username, password. So I could, let's just, I don't know, let's just update it with lots of exclamation points. Okay, all right, so I did, it does make a change there. Great, fine. But where on earth, Gamlor, hey, thanks for stopping in. Thank you for your good wishes. And thanks for stopping. Appreciate all the conversation. And great to see you again. I won't be streaming Thursday. I won't be streaming next week either. I didn't mention that at the beginning of the stream. I will be at an event all next week. So I won't be able to stream during next week either. So we'll see. Won't see for at least a week and a half. But thanks for stopping in. Render the sign-in widget. But I can't even edit this HTML directly. Like if I wanted to try setting like config.idps, I can't do that here. As far as I can tell. I can change these labels and stuff. But I can't go in here and edit this HTML, which is fine. I don't need to edit the HTML. I'm not interested in that because I'd probably just botch it. But I need to add somewhere this. Type equals LinkedIn to IDPS. Oh, maybe these docs aren't rendered correctly or something. Am I missing something here? Well, that looks right. So I was worried I was missing some HTML tags or something. But no. Yeah, I'm right out of ideas here. You can find more about it on GitHub. When you log in, we'll use the widgets. Open, yeah, okay. Okta sign-in widget. Oh, here's something. Okay. OpenID Connect. So this is what it wants me to do, like this, right? But where is that set? On the hosted version. External identity providers using OIDC authentication. Supported IDs, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yep. Declare with the type. Get distinct styling and default internet isolation text. While any other entry will receive a general styling required text be provided. Fine. CSS classes, yeah, fine. The display, I just care about functionality right now. We can figure out the display later. But where do I put this? Where do I put this? Is there an example somewhere? Okta IDPS. LinkedIn, Google example. If IDP adds to my config, I can't log in. This is something. IDPS. New Okta sign in. Okay, okay. So I'm kind of piecing this together a little bit. This is, okay, so if I look at this, compare that side by side with this. See there's this Okta sign in here, Okta sign in here. Oops, where'd it go? I lost my pop-up. Okta sign in here, Okta sign in here. So this config object is where the IDPS is. Git sign in widget config. Okay, any custom overrides defined in your admin settings. Okay, so there's some overrides somewhere. Where are those? So the admin settings, it says. Is that at the application level? Just trying to figure out where else this would go. Admin settings. Switch over to classic UI. Is there anything in there? This is sign in, right? Sign in. Okta sign in. Where do I change that? Sign in page. I don't see where I put that. Custom sign in. So, okay, maybe this is custom URL domain must be set to customize the widget HTML inversion. So do I need to do that? By default, is an Okta subdomain such as my company and my company. You can replace the default address of your Okta organization with a custom domain name subdomain that you specify, such as example of mycompany.com. Before you're going to make sure the following access to your domain name registrar. I don't have that. And a TLS. I don't have those things. So I can't do this until I have those things. that is kind of a pain. That if I can't customize this until I have a subdomain, and I can't get the subdomain until I have like registrar access to it, which I don't have, which would be a bunch of flaming hoops for me to jump through to get that. Hopefully that's not the case. Okay, well, I think I'm stuck right now. So I think what I need to do is I'll need to just contact, I'll go to the Okta forums, or I've actually been working with someone in Okta support. Maybe they can help me just to figure out where do I put this in my application. So I don't know. I think I have to go and ask a person. Believe it or not, you have to actually talk to people in development and coding, which is kind of frustrating sometimes because it's not like an instant response, and you have to communicate well. But it's just part of the situation sometimes. So I don't know. I think we're going to call it a day on the LinkedIn stuff. I've got about 24 minutes here. So if you guys all have any questions, or alternatively, if you have any ideas for commands to add the old Twitch bot, I got the code for that here on the screen. So right now there's just basically one command, which is set. It's one command for you, which is to see current project, and then for me, it's to set current project. That's the only commands I have right now is help, current project, and set current project. So I don't know. I was thinking adding other commands, like if people wanted a swag, they could maybe like a little swag command. Just give them some information about what to do. They want some swag. Or I don't know what else. What else would be a good command in here? I was thinking if you look at Michael Jolly's channel, he's got some really cool custom stuff, and he's worked on this IO framework, which is written in, I think, in TypeScript and Node and things like that. So like if you put an emoji in the chat, it'll like throw emojis all over the screen. Something like that might be cool to build into the spot, but that would require, I think, right now this is just a console app, require me to convert this into a web app, I think, and then add like a web page overlay to Streamlabs. I think that's how he did it, because I don't think he interacts with like Streamlabs or OBS directly. I could be wrong about that, but it's just a web page. It's mostly transparent, and you can put images up there and move them around the screen. So we don't have to copy Michael Jolly exactly, but it's a pretty cool thing he's got there when emojis happen. So I don't know. He's also got some commands that play sound effects and things like that. This is pretty cool. But right now it's just current project and help. So if you have ideas for anything else to throw into the Twitch bot, I'm open to them. But I guess we only have 20 minutes left for the day, so maybe we'll just call it a day. Let's switch over here to the live coder team list to see who else is streaming. Relevant Jesse. Seems like he streams a lot. I think we've rated him at least once or twice. But we could probably just keep the party going and go over to Relevant Jesse with a raid. He's doing C# SQL and WinForms still. He's in a code base that's very realistic, based on my experience. A very realistic code base, kind of a mess, some questionable decisions made, and he's kind of working through that and showing that. So some very cool stuff there. I assume that's what he's working on. Again, it looks like he's doing some stuff with SQL Server there. So that's my kind of deal. So why don't we head on over and raid Relevant Jesse? You're welcome to join the raid. If you're a subscriber, please spam the old Calvin head, the old bada bing, bada boom. I'll paste that there in the chat so you know what that looks like. And say hi, be nice to Relevant Jesse, and hang out and see what he's up to. So I'll close up for today. Thanks everyone for joining me. Thank you SS Dragon ZPT for the follow. Thank you Gamlor, Surly Dev, Michael Jolly. Who else? Former Toledo resident Coding Gorilla. Thanks for dropping in. And I think that's everybody. Got everybody. Thank you everybody. So I'll trigger the raid now. We'll see you over there in a little bit.
Lead in by analysis. Was rated with me a party of 5. Hey Matthew, how you doing today? Thanks for the raid.